This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSPORT Fan Network. TalkSPORT. Powered by fans.
Styles with a save. To the second here. A classic counter-attack. And Gibbs White puts Nottingham Forest 2 ahead. Here's Wood. 1-0 Forest. To the goal. Has made an even bigger difference there. Nottingham Forest have snatched the lead at Anfield.
Hello, welcome back to Red Side of Trent, here to discuss Forest's 1-0 late defeat at the hands of Liverpool. I'd like to be joined by Reese Lane and Alex Oakes off their recent performance on Call Yourself a Fan. I won't spoil it, but it was a good appearance from you both. Reese, how are you first of all?
Aside from the result, mate, I'm good. How about you?
I'm about the same, to be honest. A bit deflated and a little bit low, but also quite positive because the performance was actually
I think
good.
Deflated's the right word, mate. I think you've hit it bang on there.
Yeah, Alex, are you well?
As well as I can be, mate. A bit deflated.
Yeah, well, you said to me off air, like, you don't mind if it was someone else, but it's them. It's Liverpool. But just your brief thoughts walking out the ground, Alex, obviously after that, because we got away with murder at the end in terms of the first one that got disallowed, but then the second one, I mean, extremely tight. And I mean, Liverpool get a goal out of kind of really not a lot, to be honest. A game that was probably a 0-0.
Yeah, I kind of have an inside joke next to the lad next to me. I say most weeks it's got 0-0 written all over it, and it rarely ever is. But genuinely, I thought it was petering out to be a half decent point. I mean, walking out, it was a mixture of emotions. It's like I said, just we started deflated, but there was a lot of promise, and certainly in the first half performance to sort of warrant not feeling deflated. Because if we have a bona fide goal scorer, we probably go in at half time 1, maybe 2-0 up. They didn't create anything in the first half. We didn't allow them to create anything in the first half. But yeah, walking out, it was a real mixture. From sort of talking to fans around me, some were saying that Dyche wouldn't have let that result happen. It's complete, utter nonsense. But yeah, I think it's one of those things we've just sort of got to brush that one off as an unlucky day at the office and go again against Brighton.
Yeah, I mean, Reece, do you echo what Alex has said, or have you got anything different?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into discussions about Sean Dyche now because he's history. We also wouldn't have played with that attacking intent under Dyche. So, Liverpool might come on to us, and even though they were poor first half, they might have scored. We'll never know, but that's history now. But happy with the performance, mate. I don't think any fan could say they was disappointed with the performance. It's just it's been the theme throughout the season, hasn't it, really? Not scored enough goals. I think it's 25 in 27 Premier League games. Bearing in mind, Chris Wood got 20 on his own last season, which has been a huge miss. Alanga's been a huge miss as well because the wingers we've brought in just haven't, we've not really given them the platform to build, but they just haven't got anywhere near the effect he had. So you're missing, obviously, them two massively. And then the chances we do create, which, to be fair, despite the play, we had 2 shots on target today and we had 18 shots, is not very good, is it? Let's be honest. The chances we had, we've got to take. Hudson-Odoi has to take his chance. And then the other one, I think, first half is where we slip Jesus in and he doesn't even get a shot away. It takes far too long to get a shot away there. And a player like Virgil van Dijk ain't going to give you a second invitation. He nicks it away from him. Second half, to be fair, Liverpool made the change in the fact they actually put Curtis Jones more to right back and Szoboszlai came into the midfield. Szoboszlai, when I've seen him this season, is probably Liverpool's best player this season. One of the best midfielders in the league. So I always thought he was going to get on the ball a bit more, which he did. But again, it didn't, aside from the one early on, what Ortega saved from Curtis Jones, didn't create a lot. But as the game goes on longer at 0-0, a side who are 17th in the league against the reigning champions are going to be kind of holding on for a point. So you felt that Liverpool probably get a chance, and unfortunately, the elite sides they take a chance, don't they? We got off with a warning, and unfortunately, in the end, we succumb to a late goal. It was the exact same as the second season, wasn't it? When Darwin Núñez scored late on. So, yeah, like you said, mate, really deflating, because I think on the basis of play, they didn't deserve to win. But, if you're a Liverpool fan, you're going to say, well, you make your own luck, and they've made it, haven't they? Because they've created a chance late on and took the game from us.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, I mean, was you surprised that the same starting lineup from Thursday was the same today, or was you quite happy with it? Because obviously we've struggled in games after European nights when we kept the same team. I think Deitch did that first game in the Premier League when we went to Bournemouth, kept the same team as the one that beat Porto, and then we got torn to shreds, really. But what did you think of that lineup that Vitor Pereira put out in his first Premier League game as manager?
It was fine. I think it was our strongest lineup, personally. And again, I'd say the same for going away to Fenerbahce. It was our strongest lineup. I think Vitor had to put the strongest lineup out in Istanbul to really sort of set a stall out. But again, you're not going to change that in the Premier League. That's the Premier League lineup. It's our strongest 11. But yeah, I was completely fine with it. And moving on slightly, I hope that some changes are made for Thursday to freshen up for Brighton away on Sunday, just because of the work we've already done in Istanbul.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, do you think we will then change for Thursday night, because we've got that luxury of having a 3-goal lead? I mean, my only worry of obviously Forest, it's the PTSD of like, if Fenerbahce score an early goal, do we allow them back in the tie? But personally, I didn't see anything that from them on Thursday that kind of worried me in a sense. So would you expect not mass change, but maybe like 4 or 5 players to make an appearance on Thursday that didn't that week?
Yeah, not wholesale changes. I mean, I'd probably expect who are we thinking? Maybe both wingers, possibly the two that ended the game today. They're probably going to start. McAtee possibly. Dominguez is in with a shout. But yeah, I wouldn't make complete wholesale changes, because I think that then causes a bit of naivety and more so anxiety in the fan base that we could, again, I hate using the word with Forest, but bottle it. When we've seen us do this before, Yeovil at home, Swansea, etc. But yeah, a few changes. I thought Bakwa looked poor when he came on today, but again, it's one of them. He's lacking so much confidence. He's not been playing. He's been bombed out of the squad under Sean Dyche. Come back in today, had a couple of half decent touches, but again, didn't exactly impress me. But hopefully, give him a start on Thursday, nail up a bit of confidence, because they've got a couple of players missing. Their two starting centre backs aren't going to be playing. But yeah, hopefully strike a bit of confidence into some of the lesser used players, and yeah, hopefully get them making an impact in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, just back to the Liverpool game then, Reece. I thought the first half was possibly one of the most dominant displays I've seen us against one of the Sky Six, if you want to call it. I thought Ibrahim Sangare was out of this world. He was honestly head and shoulders above everyone, and I was just in awe of his first half performance. But we just couldn't capitalize on any of that. And I thought we had really, Liverpool were on the ropes. Like Canate, poor Alisson kicking the ball out of play. They were giving the ball away so much, but we've just not got that killer instinct this season, have we?
No, mate. Like I said in my opening piece, 3 minutes in, what a pass from Sangare, lofted over the top. Hudson-Odoi clean through. He has to score, mate. Really, there. He's done. He's obviously tried to lift it over Alisson, so he's done that right. But he has to score, mate, there for me. And then, like I said, the other one is the Jesus one where we slipped him in. He just took far too long to get even a shot away. And against these type of sides, you always feel that you have to take a chance because you just know what's coming. You just know what's coming. When the longer it stays, I said this to my partner and the people I sit with, the longer this game's 0-0, the more it'll probably suit them because they were never going to come out, I thought, as well, second half and play as poor as they did first half. That's why they made the change and put Szoboszlai into the middle of the park because he can influence the game more. Yeah, but it's been the theme of the season, mate. Like I said, with the lack of goals, as Igor Jesus, look, he works very hard. His hold-up play is excellent, but he's just got not in the Premier League, which is different to Europe. Europe's a bit of a slower pace. You're not against the sides who are as intense. He's proved he can do it at that level. In the Premier League, in terms of his goal scoring, it's 2 goals, mate, in, 25 games, perhaps? He was unfortunate with the one at Anfield. So you could argue maybe 3, but he's still not good enough. The fact that we've not got any attacking players nowhere near double figures in the Premier League is just poor all round. And it's been the story of the season and why we're down at the bottom. And then, unfortunately, we just have lapses in concentration at the back at ends of halves, which is also costing us. But yeah, we needed to make it count, mate. I think we was all happy with the performance at half time, but the cynic in you says we need to make it count, and unfortunately we didn't, because I thought Liverpool's second half were not loads better, but better than what we was, and actually got a foothold in the game, is what I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, Liverpool, the one change that, I mean, you wouldn't have thought that this change for Liverpool would have made a massive difference. But and I'm not going to try and say the young lad's last name because I ain't got a chance in hell. But I call him Rio for that. He come on for Mo Salah, and I thought he was 10 times better than Salah. You would have thought you'd thought it would be the other way around in terms of experience. But he come on, got down the line against Nico Williams and put a ball in. And I mean, Ortega makes an unbelievable save to start with, and then the clearance from Olaina, I mean, you couldn't write it really of it coming off McAllister. And we did get away with it because it was deemed as accidental handball, and you can't score with your hand as much as McAllister probably doesn't know a lot about it in terms of he's just trying to get a block in, isn't he? But it would have been the most Forest way to have lost a football match. Never mind the actual way that we did lose it in the end, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the first goal was the Forest way, and the second goal was the Forest way. Yeah, I mean, in terms of Ngomoa coming on, that's the sort of impact you're wanting from substitutions from our bench. Someone like Dylan Bakwa or Dan Ndoye. You want him to get out of fullback. He looks a brilliant player so far. I mean, I wasn't particularly impressed with him when he come on against us when we won at Anfield, but today he gave Nico a real tough sort of 10-15 minutes, and it was a big step up from what Salah was giving him, just purely just speed and little flicks and tricks. Makes it extremely difficult for a fullback to defend. And to be fair to him, it's a great ball into the box initially. As you say, Ortega makes a great save. I think he did really well today, Ortega.
Yeah,
a couple of crosses and corners that he sort of come out for, and he's either not got a shout or a defender shouted and he's cleared it anyway. But yeah, I really like him. I tip him to have a good future and a good career at Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, and then Reece, obviously the goal that actually does count for Liverpool. It's a little naive from us in terms of switching off, and again, I mean, it was tight for offside, but these are the fine margins in football, unfortunately. And as a former manager, would say, because that's what we like to say on this pod. But this is what we're lacking as well in terms of midfielders crashing the box and getting on the end of knockdowns and that sort of thing. Because it's another good save from Ortega, and then it's just McAllister following in, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when you've had a warning sign like you've had a few minutes earlier as well, and yeah, we can talk about it's just lack of concentration at end of games, mate. Ekitike's a free header. It's a completely free header. And it's an unbelievable save from Ortega. Probably one of the best I've seen at the City ground. But let's flip it round on its head. And if that's Igor Jesus or if that's Lorenzo Luca, we're saying he's got to score. He has to score there. We're disappointed because you put you put that in the corner, the keeper is saving it, and he should be doing that Ekitike, but take nothing away from Ortega. So you've got away with it there because, no one in the ground really. He's hit his elbow, and you can't obviously score your arm. So the correct decision has been made in terms of the law, but no one's complaining, are they? If that gets given, let's be honest. It's completely accidental. So we've got away with one there. The laws obviously helped us in that sense, but and then you just see the game out and just make sure you get the point. And it's whipped in from Szoboszlai, and Einer's at the back post with Van Dijk and Ekitike. I think Milenkovic, who's in that area, should be taking charge of that situation really, and going up with Van Dijk for the header, not leaving Einer with Ekitike and Van Dijk. And then it's obviously headed, towards goal. And Ortega again, makes a great save. I think him and Murillo get in his way a little bit. I don't know whether if it had gone by Ortega or not, but you can't, because you're scrambling then. And then we all just watch the ball, mate, and McAllister's alive. And I watched Lorenzo Lucas in the area where he should be running with McAllister, and he just stands there, mate. And McAllister's alive to the situation, and it's just a lack of concentration at that time of the game. And it would have been a great point for us today. We would have matched West Ham's result yesterday, and you'd say we've had the harder game of the weekend. They've gained a point on us. Leeds have gained a point on us this weekend. Palace are now away from us. Brighton have won. So, it's only us and Tottenham who've lost. So we spoke on this pod about matching West Ham's points. And so if we would have got a point today, I think we'd all been really pleased. So to chuck it away after all the hard work we've done, with just lack of concentration again, it's just so disappointing. And but these are what I know Liverpool have not been the side there was last season, but the reigning champions, these are what elite sides do. They did it that season, by hook or crook with Núñez, didn't they? They go right to the end. We saw it back in when we was kids with Alex Ferguson at Manchester United, how many 90-minute goals he scored. These is what the elite sides do. And it's just so disappointing from our perspective that we've switched off, really, in my opinion. And especially after that warning as well. That should refocus your minds, really, that goal before what we got away with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you both said, it's disappointing because we've played well, but again, we're not shoot. Our quality of shooting is not good enough at the moment from a lot of players, not just Jesus, but like your wingers, your central midfielders, Gibbs White, and everything. And it's so annoying because the build up to the final third is largely pretty good. It's just that last bit is absolutely damning us.
We've seen it today, haven't we? 18 shots, 2 on target. That's just not good enough at all, really. Being cynical. Alisson's made the save where we think Hudson-Odoi should score, but apart from that, has he really made a save? He made a hash of the cross in his second half. He come out and flapped it a bit. But there isn't a chance where you think, Alisson's made a brilliant save there today. And that's the problem, unfortunately. We're just not clinical enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to get into some slept on it thoughts in a minute, but first of all, do our sponsors. We've got Trent Side Threads, an array of clothing and everything from there. Use our code RSOT with 2 T's for 10% off. That's at trentsidethreads.co.uk. And then our friends at Vesta Blinds, stylish, high quality, made to measure blinds and shutters at a great price. Give your home the perfect finishing touch with stunning, expertly fitted window coverings from Vesta Blinds. That's vestablinds.com. Information on the screen if you're watching on YouTube to get in touch with them as well. And then we're going to get into your not so slept on it thoughts.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
We'll just start off on Facebook from Simon Jones. Really disappointing loss. Not putting away good chances is really costing us this season. Hopefully now Vitor can see you cannot trust the likes of Luca and Doy and Bakwa. And then from Stephen Hallam, great performance again. No striker to put the ball in the net. And then just onto Twitter. It's gone off on my phone. Do apologise. Let's go through these as well. Johnny Ankler, feels sick. Shouldn't have lost that. Didn't deserve to lose. Vitor has had an immediate impact on our player style, but the same worry is still there. We don't score goals. 11 cup finals to go. Keep the faith, you Reds. Carl Booth, what cost us today was not having a goal scorer. Completely outplayed them first half and needed that goal. There was always a chance we were going to get a sucker punch, and so it proved. Great display nonetheless. Ekitike was offside onto Thursday. I mean, Ekitike doesn't touch the ball, and these new laws just kind of they do what they please nowadays. D. Warden, some excellent individual performances, but need to score when on top, need to take more shots from outside the area. Gutted to lose in that fashion. Mark Baker, we look very good, but desperately need a striker. Jesus is nowhere near Premier League quality, neither is Luca by the looks of it. Aina and Cho poor again. On to the next. Tom Newton, tough one to take, played really well, but we didn't really trouble Allison. Got to go for the win next week at Brighton with Man City away straight after. In conclusion, really hard one to take, especially against them. Gob. Yes. Ian, if you can't score goals, you get relegated. Simple as. Capanosity, superb until we got to their box. I thought we deserved a point. Sangari was insane throughout. So much to like. But if we can't score, we can't win. No one copped McAllister's movement for both goals. He was so anonymous. Our players forgot about him. Fatigue told in the end. Sammy Slack, absolutely gutting that is. They didn't deserve that at all. The performance was definitely something to be buoyed by, but we need to start putting the ball in the net. Rest a few on Thursday, and then I think Brighton has to be 3 points. You Reds. Lewis Morris, unlucky to not get something, but we should have capitalised in the first half and went on top. I'm torn as all good saying play like that and we'll be fine. I agree. However, we need to start scoring goals, and ultimately we need points. We won't stay up on we played well but lost. And then FLAF Nottingham has sent a dartboard with none of the darts hitting the actual board. So, yeah, that's good. James, we need Woody back ASAP. Jesus and Luca are a real liability, and we looked switched off from the 50th to 80th minute. Taking MGW off after the first VAR call was a bad call, as he looked strong. On to Fenerbahce Thursday, where we can seal the Europa League last 16 spot. So, yeah, lots of comments there. Thank you very much for getting in touch. I did want to ask you both about the play style, because obviously you're both in Istanbul to watch us beat Fenerbahce quite comfortably. Alex, are you quite positive about the first two games you've seen under Vitor Pereira, and are you confident that we do have enough to stay up, or are you really worried about the obvious in the elephant in the room, which is scoring goals in the Premier League?
I say both. I genuinely both. I think you can be impressed by the current style of play and what Vitor Pereira has managed to implement in such a short space of time. He's probably had 5-6 days worth of training sessions, maybe not even that. But yeah, we look like a team that now is sort of free flowing going forwards. But it's the same, as Reece alluded to earlier, it's the same lapse in concentrations at the end of halves that end up losing games. And again, up top, it's been a season-long thing where our number 10's our highest scoring player, and he's got 6 in the league, 6, 7 now, 5. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I put in the chat earlier that there's something missing just literally in front of goal, because we can get to the opponent's box, no problem. We can get in the opponent's box, no problem. And it's literally just putting the ball in the back of the net. And again, as Reece said earlier, when you've taken out Chris Wood's 20 goals, Alanga's 17 goal contributions as well, it's huge, and they haven't been replaced. And yeah, I genuinely am worried, because that's when you look at West Ham currently, that's where they're strongest. They've got Bowen and Somerville firing on all cylinders at the minute. I'm pretty sure Castellanos is going to pick up a couple before the end of the season. But yeah, it's the two things are losing us games: not being able to put a ball in the back of the net, and it just a minute lapse in concentration. I think it was Mason or possibly Reece that put in earlier. You could play well for 96 minutes of a 97-minute game, and it means nothing, because you'll lose it in the Premier League. And that's the biggest problem we've got. And we're doing it. We've done it so many times this season, time and time and time again. And Liverpool at the start of this season, they I mean, you couldn't look at Liverpool score without going, oh, they've won it in added time. You know, we knew that that's a massive strength of theirs. They will go until the last second. Unfortunately, we didn't. And yeah, I'm concerned, but there is, on the flip side, real positivity in the way we've gone forward in these last couple of games, and hopefully Vitor can get something clicking or someone clicking up front that's gonna end up scoring us important goals.
Yeah, Reece, he seemed very positive in his post-match with Colin Frey, Vitor Pereira. He seemed quite upbeat about what he saw from his side, and especially from Thursday as well as today. So, do you think he's got the tools to get us out of the mud? Because it is like someone, I can't remember who said. I mean, 11 cup finals it is in the Premier League. Europe doesn't seem to be a bother at all. We score goals for fun in that because the competition is just far weaker, but it's the hardest thing to do in the Premier League, score goals, and we're just really, really rubbish at it.
It is 6, Alex, by the way. He's got 6 goals this season, Gibbs White. But to be honest, mate, I'll be honest with you. I do fear the worst because, look, the performances on Pereira to what we've had have been really good. You can't argue with the performances. That's the positive. You're watching that today and thinking, right, if you play like that, then results will come. But we do struggle for a lack of goals. That is a huge problem. It's been a problem all season. And then in the Premier League, it is them key moments, them lapses in concentration, what cost you. We had a lapse in concentration at Leeds away, and then all of a sudden within 5 minutes we're 2-0 down and the game's kind of away from you. It can games in the Premier League, when you have a lapse in concentration or a bad spell for 5-10 minutes, it can be taken away from you. And obviously when you're down the bottom, you're not going to be full of confidence. So I think the worry for me also is a superstition is that some things are kind of written in football, is that it would be very Forest, that Nuno would be the one to relegate us as well, wouldn't it? Because teams are getting away, mate. That's an issue. Like I said, Brighton have won. I think that puts them on 34 now. Palace have put themselves on 35. So these teams have, they've got 1 foot and 4 toes out of it, really. Leeds don't win a lot of games, but they've got that kind of solid stream of points, which is kind of keeping them away from it. Tottenham look really poor. I guess they're probably the next side up, and it's frustrating that if we had beat Wolves and got a point today, would be above Tottenham, for example. And West Ham, the form has improved. So you have to say it is touch and go. And also we've got to juggle the Europa League games as well. I guess the positive on Thursday is you can make, a few changes. You don't have to go, I guess, at full strength because we've got a good lead. And you'd like to think if we, don't concede an early goal or get the first goal, you think that's the tie beyond Fenerbahce, who play Monday night, which is strange. I think Galatasaray lost yesterday, so there's a possibility they could close the gap on them. They're against a side near the bottom of the league, and they're missing the two starting centre backs. Skriniar's injured, Osterwold suspended, so they're bringing in Sionsu, who was crap in the Premier League and was crap on Thursday night, and then there'll be a 4th choice centre back in there. So, you'd like to think we could do a bit of rotation, have enough to not do a Forest, you know what I mean, and get convincingly through. And then you're looking at Sunday, Brighton away, you've got to really go there and win, mate. Because then is it Man City away then?
Yeah. And then
they're starting to go through the gears again, aren't they, Man City? I mean, we've got a terrible record there. We've not scored in the last 3 seasons there. We've been beat 11-0 on aggregate, 6-0, 2-0 and 3-0. So yeah, it's a big game next Sunday. It's just kind of a shame, really. Brighton's got themselves out of a bit of a rut, and I think they've only won about 2 in 14, haven't they? Which one was against us. So it's going to be stressful, mate. It's going to be a roller coaster ride. It's going to be every weekend. There's going to be, in football in terms, your emotions are going to be up and down. It's going to be very similar to the season what we had with Luton below us. But the problem with Luton was I said they were crap all along, and they didn't. I think they won 1 in 17 at the second half of the season. You look at West Ham; they've got a good manager and they've got players who can hurt teams. Jared Bowen, Somerville. Fernandez is starting to play well for them. So it's going to be touch and go, mate. But the positive is for us is that the performance has been good today, and we've still got the buffer. So, it's a bit. I guess it's an opportunity for West Ham next week with playing first that they could go above us, but they've got to go to Liverpool away and get something. So hopefully Liverpool can flip it on its head next weekend and do us a favour. Let's say if they beat West Ham at Anfield, if we go to Brighton and then win, it's back to 5 points and there's 2 more games down. So it's in his own hands, mate. And Forest have just got to go out and produce, and that's what it's all about. But it is going to be touch and go, I think, until the rest of the season, unfortunately, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, I think this is where I get annoyed of this season, because we've said this loads on the pod where we've had moments where we've had a chance to push on and we never did, and this is why we've disgruntled with Dyche. Like, we played Fulham away where it was a 0-0 game. If we beat it, we'd go above them, and then they went on a bit of a charge. Recently, we played Palace at home, and if we beat them, we'd have gone level on points with them. They've now picked up 2 wins against Brighton and Wolves today and got away. And then we've squandered that against Wolves after the Leeds game where we were poor. But I mean, 35 shots and not won that game where you could have a bit of a buffer. And we've squandered that. And it's just very, very, very frustrating. This season has been all about ifs, buts and maybes, and then an absolute cluster, I'm not going to swear, of chaos.
Yeah, I think you can you can negate the Palace result as a half decent point to an extent because of the circumstances. But yeah, the team selection away at Leeds was baffling. I mean, I haven't seen Lucanet since. I said he probably wouldn't play another game this season, and that was his chance. It didn't. And like I say, we got torn apart that night from, again, like Reece said, a couple of lapses in concentration. The game's gone. And Wolves at home, it's inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable. I mean, the last 2 games, I think we've had like 54 shots or something and not scored a goal. That's horrendous. That is relegation level forward line. That it just is. Some people aren't going to want to hear it, but it is. And I mean, like I say, in terms of Brighton away, we've really now got to go there and win and hope Liverpool flip it on its head and do us a favour by beating West Ham, hopefully comfortably at Anfield. But yeah, it's time's running out, and yeah, it's a worrying state of affairs currently. But like I said earlier, the last couple of games have given positives in the performance, and I think we've got to take some positives from that.
I'm going to be a real happy clapper now, and I'm disappointed that we've not scored a goal in 55 shots. But I'd rather at least have us had 55 shots. You know, like sometimes when you're going through a bit of a barren spell and you're not scoring goals, but we're not even shooting or getting into the positions to shoot. It's one of them. But like I understand it as well. It's a real disappointing stat to hear, but
it's just creating the clear-cut chances. I mean, how many of them 50 yards were clear-cut chances?
Oh yeah, very
little.
little.
Double figures. You know,
6 on 1 against Wolves.
Yeah, and then you probably say the Hudson-Odoi one today. Yeah. It's not even double figures, mate. And there've probably been more pop shots from 25 yards, 30 yards, and clear-cut chances were made. That is the issue. We look good in transition going forward, and then it gets to that final third, and we just, it's just not clicked, has it, at all, really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that obviously now we've got a couple of days with Vitor Pereira on the training ground to probably kind of prepare for Brighton in his mind rather than Fenerbahce, because he probably thinks, well, I don't want to get complacent, but like as we've alluded to, they're playing tomorrow. They've got a week inside. We're 3-0 up. Like, you can kind of half look at the Brighton game and be prepared for that, and go after that, and maybe work on a few things to work on getting better openings, getting players in positions to score more goals, and at least have better chances of scoring goals. And Brighton are a weird team this season. I generally thought they'd kick on, but Fabian Ertzler's like, he's very hit and miss at Brighton. Like they got a good result away at Brentford. It's a good win, but they got gifted the second goal, I have to admit. So an interesting fixture away at the Amex next week. So, and a good opportunity for us, I feel, especially if West Ham do get beat. But we're going to do some player performances because I feel like some players are owed some glamour. I'm going to start with yourself, Reece, because I've got to give someone Ibrahim Sangare to talk about because I thought he was fabulous. Again, he's been brilliant this season.
Yeah, man of the match for me, mate. I can never say Williams doesn't deserve it because he gives 100% in every game, Nico Williams, but I would have given it to Sangare today personally. I know Williams got it in the ground. I thought first half he completely bossed the game, bossed the midfield, always showing for the ball. The clip ball to Hudson-Odoi, that was 3 minutes in. That's superb. Keeping the ball moving. I thought his aggression. Yeah, we had a few fouls, but I just thought that's everything I want to see in a midfield performance the first half. Second half, they got more on the ball, and he didn't see as much as the ball. But the moments he did have, I thought he was equally as good. I seen Danscape put that it was the best centre mid performance since we've come up today. So, that's just one fan's opinion. He was excellent, mate. And I've said it all season, I'll say it again. I think with some fans it's a case of they kind of forget how good he's been recently and they'll look at this performance and go, oh yeah, he needs to keep doing it and keep doing it. And it's like, well, he's been doing it for quite a while now this season. He's been definitely one of our best players of the season. I know some fans will say, and I agree, the bar is low, but he's giving himself a shout for player of the season at the minute, in my opinion. He'd be in the top 3 conversation without a doubt for me. He's just got to keep it up. It's just a shame, obviously, the team isn't doing well as a whole. It's kind of taking the shine off it. But yeah, I thought he was excellent today, mate. I thought, and he just looks fit, mate. He just looks fit, and he's, when you watch him, I think at times probably first couple of seasons, times looked a bit sluggish, but he just looks sharp. He looks fit. He just looks like the player we expected to sign, really. So I'm hoping he can keep it up because he's going to be a big player for us for the rest of the season and hopefully going forward as well.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was tremendous. Alex, I'm going to give you Stefan Ortega in goal. We mentioned him earlier. I thought he was really good today. Actually, looked more accomplished with him, and I thought his kicking was unbelievable. By the way, you did one in the first half where he pinged it over Curtis Jones's head straight onto Hudson-Odoi's foot, and I thought we was going to get through on goal, but nothing come to it, obviously. But I thought he looked really assured in goal today. Yeah,
in terms of shot stopping and distribution, I don't think there's any question marks around him. I think the only thing, much like Sells, is sort of commanding of area. There was a couple of crosses, couple of corners that he's come out and either a defender's not heard the shout or a defender's given him the shout first. I mean, he's made 3 saves. He's completed sort of 60% of his long passes. Again, solid. I mean, Leeds aside, I think in terms of shot stopping, he's been brilliant so far. Like Reece said earlier, it's probably one of the best saves I've seen a Forest goalkeeper make for that Ekatike header. Just unfortunate how it ended, but you can't win them all. And I mean, busy, unbusy, if not unspectacular today.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Reece, I'm going to give you Nico Dominguez, who I thought come on for Elliot Anderson at a really good point in the game where I thought Anderson he was blowing a little bit, and I know he was frustrated, and people have noted that how he was upset and maybe showed it in the wrong way. But I thought Nico Dominguez come on and really gave us something, gave us a lot of energy and played really well. And I wouldn't be shocked to see him start on Thursday night personally.
Yeah, I mean, if Anderson is, punching seats and that, apparently. Yeah, it is disappointing that, mate. You shouldn't really show your frustrations in that sense, especially, after the new managers come in. But I guess that does, on the flip, also show that he's not, not arse, you know what I mean? So that is good, I guess, in that sense. But look, Dominguez comes on and does what he does, doesn't he? He's energetic, at that time in the game, if players are slowing down, and it's up to the manager to make a decision whether Anderson likes it or not. He's high energy. I thought he I thought he was probably the only sub. Who else coming in? Yeah, it was definitely the only sub who come on and made an impact, in my opinion. A few of my friends are saying that he should have gone down just before they scored. There was a push in the back and he didn't go down. I'm not. I didn't really come back on that on the highlights, but yeah, Nico. We know what his strengths are, Nico, aren't we? You know, he's not going to get in the side at the minute because of the centre mid pairing is so good, but he can definitely have an impact, and that's what I exactly want to see. Players coming off the bench today is affecting the game. Unfortunately, in my opinion, he's the only one of the four I actually thought who did affect the game.
Do you know, on a lighter note, has he gone from blonde to grey today? That's like the 8th or 9th different hairstyle. I need to keep a tally up.
I mean, for those who watch The Simpsons, his hair grows like when Homer has that formula on his head and then wakes up with hair like Gabriel Batistuta. His hair grows so quick, doesn't it? He changes style and that all the time. But I'm not too sure from afar. I thought he'd just gone blonde, hadn't
He looked great today on the telly. I mean, in real life, GTA character Nico Dominguez, but
Yeah.
we do like him. Alex, last player to talk about is Morgan Gibbs-White. I thought first half especially, I thought he was excellent. I mean, got a really unfortunate yellow card. I didn't think that was a yellow card personally. Where Van Dijk, I think, tried to take a quick free kick and he is away from the ball, and like it's a bad pass. You're not going to not put your foot there. It's strange, but I thought he got on the half turn a lot and drove with the ball in good areas as well, and got us up the field. It's just unfortunate nothing else have come off for him in that case, but a positive performance from the skipper.
Yeah, again, that first half he was playing with like someone owed him money. Yeah, I thought he was really good in the first half. He was the Forest player with the most chances created in 4. I couldn't pinpoint those, but that's what FOTMob's saying. Yeah, I think it's a very typical performance of Gibbs-White. Busy, solid, tenacious, and I think the move with Szoboszlai into midfield that Liverpool had in the second half really sort of shut him down slightly. It really stopped sort of the good work that he was doing. Or it's either that or because he played, what was it, 70, 75 minutes in midweek, he may have just been gassed out completely, which is, again, I think why he sort of needs to make way for someone like McAtee on Thursday and then for him to go again at Brighton on Sunday. But yeah, not his greatest games, but far from a poor performance.
Yeah, definitely. Just wanted both of you to touch on Dylan Backwards come back into the fold today. Obviously, he got into some good areas, but then like his execution of whatever he was doing, not always the best, really. So, I mean, it's clear that Vitor Pereira must like him to bring him back in straight away, and obviously had his arm around him on Thursday as well, which people were saying that they made quite a comment about it, like saying maybe it's good man management and stuff that he'll get his chance. So we're going to need him. We're going to need everyone in this squad. We need someone to I don't know, just come from nowhere and do something, a bit like how Somerville's doing it at West Ham, suddenly start to score goals for him. We need that kind of, I don't know, bit of brilliance from somewhere, and he's got it. He's got the talent. I'm very aware of that. I really believe it, but he's just not shown it in a Nottingham Forest shirt. It's been a very start to his career here, but it has been for this whole squad, to be honest. It's been rubbish.
I think he'd be near the top of a list of players we've not really given a platform, have we, for how chaotic the club's been this season. I mean, look, an arm around the shoulder, as good management as it is from Pereira, it's not a magic wand, is it? He just looked completely shot of confidence, mate. He looked frightened to death out there, and you know, he's giving him a chance, but I guess it's in an intense game of football where you've got to get up to speed against the reigning champions. And I just thought, I think the first action he did where he got at Kirkas, I'm like, just run him, and he just didn't want to do it. And then there was the one where he left for Sangare when I think it was Backwards born. It was in two minds, and then, you know, then there was one where we pinged. I think Anderson might have pinged it to the other side, and it looked an easy control, and he let it bounce, and it then went out of play, and it just looked shot of confidence, mate. it wouldn't surprise me if Pereira actually played him on Thursday in a game where I guess the pressure's not as much because of the lead we've got, and just try and play him into some form of confidence, because let's be honest, under the previous manager, it's been completely destroyed, hasn't it? Because he's been left out of squads. He's not had ample time at times when players should have had ample time. We mention it on every single pod now, but it was the exact same for Callum Owendo, who we could do with at the minute, in my opinion, because it gives you that different type of option as a striker up front. But unfortunately, we have to live by that decision because of the chaos this season. It was. In one hand, I felt for him, but on the other hand, I'm thinking, look, this is a £35 million footballer, but he just looked completely shot of confidence, mate. I won't surprise if Pereira probably put arm around him again and maybe or even say if they play McAtee maybe on the right on Thursday, and then if the game is done, hopefully give him like half an hour where he can go out and play with some freedom because the game's done, you know what I mean? But I can't moan at the manager today because we've been complaining about Dyche saying he's not making proactive subs. He swapped winger for winger today, went with the same formation. And Hudson-Odoi and Hutchinson, I thought, were okay today. But the drop-off from backward to Ndoi was massive, in my opinion, of what we saw from Hutchinson. And I'd say Hutchinson and Hudson-Odoi were probably operating around the 6.5 out of 10 bracket. But Ndoi and backward, the level just dropped. And I thought it probably gave Liverpool more of a foothold in the game because it just couldn't really keep hold of the ball, especially backward. I mean, yeah. I don't know what Alex thinks.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, come on in.
Again, there's absolutely not a word Reece has said that I disagree with. I was actually more impressed with backwards defensive work than I was with him going forward. The way Marshall, Gakpo down the line, and then Chiesa when he come on, barely had a sniff down that side with backward tracking back, and that's not what you want to be hearing about a 35 million quid winger. Like Reece said, he looks completely devoid of confidence, whether it's just because he's not playing, whether it's the previous management that's sort of taken him out of him. We're not going to go into it too much, but there's something that needs to give with him. And like Reece said, personally, I'd start him on Thursday. I'd play McAtee in the 10, give Gibbs White a rest, give Hutchinson a rest, and I'd start him, give him sort of a full run out, and then if the going is getting tough, bring Hutchinson on. But yeah, he needs something to go his way, whether it be whipping a great ball in that's nodded in, which ironically we're struggling with at the minute, but or a ball going in off his backside and getting his first goal. But yeah, something, he needs a pickup of some sort. And I'm hoping that with Pereira coming in, it's going to give him a platform to thrive, because I don't want anyone that plays in a Forest shirt being sort of bogged down and looking like he has over the last couple of months, because he looks a shell of a player from the highlight reel that we saw at Strasbourg, and I'm sure he knows that as well. I'm sure everyone connected to him can see the same thing as well. But yeah, hopefully he gets given a sort of a fresh boost of confidence, given a start on Thursday, and hopefully pulls rabbit out of the hat.
Just to finally add as well, I know, unfortunately, with how football goes now, some fans just wash the hands of these players after seeing them a couple of games. But when Back was signed, he come on at Arsenal away, and his first game, he looked really sharp. He then played at Swansea, he looked really sharp. And then he kind of had that injury, and then he's come back and he's been put into a Dyche team where, let's be honest, none of the attacking players are showing us what they are really. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Pereira started him on Thursday. Or, like I said, the hope is the game's kind of done by, I don't know, half-time, 60 minutes of tie, should I say. And then we can say, look, go on, show us what you're about, bit of freedom, but we'll have to see, because like you said, Adam, we're going to need the squad for the rest of the season, because sometimes especially with Europe, you know what I mean? I think if we'd only got Premier League fixtures, you'd be like, well, we can hang his hat on like Nuno did last season, you know, like a core of 14, but with the Europa League fixtures as well in there, yeah, we're going to need the full squad, and he's part of the squad.
Yeah, Patch Adams has said would like to see wing backs on Thursday. We need to give Aina and Williams a rest. And fortunately, there's no Savona. The only way we do that
Play
is
back
if we
or wing
play
back.
and Dan and Doy, who've both played there.
Give Kuna a play.
Yeah, because Backward played there
that.
Backward played there for Strasbourg last season, and I think under Liam Rossinian, and Doy's done it plenty of times for Switzerland. So there is that option. I know Vitor Pereira does prefer 3 at the back, so I mean it could be a thing that we do.
Yeah. The only negative to that is you probably wouldn't want to play 3 centre backs against Fenerbahce, because if they like what they was on Thursday, they're quite a poor side, I thought.
They're rubbish, Reece. They are rubbish.
So, I'm not counting my chickens, mate, because it's Forest, and they have still got some quality players who can turn up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they were poor Thursday night. Forest made them look poor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just sticking with yourself though. I mean, we'll talk about Thursday night. I mean, we thought it would be a lot tighter coming into this fixture, but it's 3-0, and you and Alex had obviously a right good time with the rest of the fans that travelled to Istanbul and watched that thumping. Are you excited about the game? Because although it's 3-0, it's still not over. We can't really, like you say, can't count our chickens yet. But are you looking forward to the game?
I wouldn't say excited, because the game's, you know, if you've got your neutrals hat on, you're thinking the game's kind of been took away from Fenerbahce. You know what I mean? So I guess you'd be a bit more excited if it was like we drew 1-1 and you're thinking, rubbing your hands together and thinking, right, we beat these tonight, we're in. Whereas when you've got Forest PTSD, you're like, well, we're in the box seat, we're in the driving seat. They've kind of got nothing to lose now, and so they're probably going to come and have a go. You know what I mean? So, like I said earlier, it's just about us getting that first goal, because that kills the tie completely dead. And I think it's about us not conceding an early goal and letting them get the tails up. So hopefully we can get an early goal and we don't concede an early goal. So, but yeah, you have got to be excited for these European nights. I think a few of us have got one eye in the next round already, and who we're going to get in that. So, but we can't be complacent. So it's like, I don't expect him to make wholesale changes. It's probably going to be half the team who played today and then maybe half the team changes. I mean, to be fair, some positions you can't really change. If you're going to play with full-backs, you've got to play the same full-backs, because I haven't got anyone else. You know, this would have been a perfect game for Luca next, but he's not in the squad. You know, and give Williams or Aina a rest, because Aina's still come back from a long-term injury this season. You know, I guess you could rotate one of your centre mids. Dominguez could slot in. You know, some fans might want Yatesy to be brought in. Like Alex said, you're both your wingers. You could swap your number 10, and you can also swap your strikers. So there is options. But, you know, I'm just hoping we don't make an absolute disaster out of it and get the job done Thursday.
Who, if we are to go through, it's obviously Betis or Midtjylland. I know you've already. Well, they're the easy. Is that selfishly because you need a pin badge, or is that because they're the easier time?
I am going to be selfish. Sorry to my friends who want to go to Betis and some of the lads who do this pod. Yeah, I am going to be selfish. Yes, I want Midtjylland for one, because it's a new ground and I get my pin badge. But on a footballing sense, I would prefer to play Midtjylland over 2 legs than Betis. I know fans will say, well, we drew with Betis and we lost to Midtjylland. I would fancy Forest beating Midtjylland convincingly over 2 legs, personally. This is a side who got took to extra time in the qualifiers by Hibernian, by the way. So we were just, unfortunately, had prime Ange ball that night, and it was an absolute disaster. I mean, I'll give you an example, and I said this in the pub earlier. At the time when we played Midtjylland, the fan base was completely divided on Sangare. He was running through their midfield that night with ease. And at the time, we were saying there was fans saying, well, he's our least athletic midfielder. And he was chopping through them, mate, easily. And unfortunately, because of Ange's ball, just couldn't defend set pieces, which their 2 goals came from, didn't they, really? And obviously, I know they scored late on, but that's because we're chasing the game. So, yeah, that'd be it for me. But if we did get through and we got Betis, I think having watched them when we played them away, there's no reason as well why we can't beat them over 2 legs, from what I saw.
Scott's put the switch we used to put Luca in could have been nets and kept Cali. I know, but in hindsight, we are absolutely fuming because Cali Mwendo has been nominated for Player of the Month and scored a few goals for Frankfurt.
This sums up the planning, mate, because I know we was linked with Luca last January, but for me, they've probably gone ahead with that deal because he's a Dyche type of striker. He clearly didn't want to play Callum Mwendo, so he had to move on because there was no point in being sat on the bench every week and us fans getting frustrated as much as we wanted him to stay. We then brought a left back in who he's refused to use, and then a few days later, after the window shut, we've sacked him.
Yeah.
You know, where are you going to get with that type of planning? It's just going to be, you're just going to get the problems what we are.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
17th in the league's where it get you.
Yeah. And then
I mean,
fourth manager of the season.
Alex, thoughts for Thursday as well?
Yeah, I'm not going, mate. I'm saving me money for the round of 16. And contrary to Reese, I do want Betis away because I'd like to do it properly this time. And I've had a look at the weather report for that time, and it's looking like it's going to be 22, 23 degrees. So, and I don't fancy paying 12 quid a pint or whatever it is in Scandinavia, or however much it is for a Coke currently. Yeah, like Reese, I echo. I seem to be doing this a lot. I echo everything Reese said. Yeah, rotate the team, get some players' confidence. Hopefully, have the game done by sort of 60th minute. Go home happy and wait for the draw.
Yeah, fair.
And the flights are ready to go.
yeah, that's it. I mean, it's such a shame that European campaigns going. It's gone well in this knockout stage so far. Obviously, the tie's still not over. We're not getting ahead of ourselves, but that's going so well. And then in the Premier League, we're just constantly looking over our shoulders. But this is Nottingham Forest, and it's just never ever boring, is it? Never. Like, come on.
That's why we were really giddy on Thursday, because these are the nights as a fan you dream of on Thursday night. You know, I thought Fenerbahce would probably turn us over 2 legs, and to go to Istanbul in an atmosphere which was raucous. You know, you usually got one, side of the ground kind of singing in Europe. It was 4 sides. I mean, when they didn't get that penalty, the whistles were deafening. I don't think I've ever heard a ground so loud than that when they didn't get that penalty, honestly. So to go there and absolutely rip them to pieces, and it could have been more than 3-0, it's just, especially with all, obviously, the things we had to kind of put up with, which I know it wasn't as bad as made out to be, but yeah, that was right up there for me. I mean, you've got to kind of latch onto the moments this season, haven't you, and enjoy them.
Yeah, well, we'll go on our European travels for Christian Stag do, Reece, when we go to Tallinn in Estonia and watch one of them sort of games. So that'll be a turn up for the books. Score predictions, both of you, for Thursday. While you're here, Reece, I'll start with yourself.
2-0 to Forest.
Alex?
2-0 to Forest.
I mean, come on, Dylan Backworth, brace, and then start smashing them in the Premier League.
It'd be nice if someone like him. Yeah, but Ndoye, Luca, because
just someone gets somebody that can show us anything.
Just some of the
different in front of goal.
Yeah, I think some of the attacking players who've probably not scored in Europe yet, like we just said, just give us something to kind of latch onto, what we can believe in, you know what I mean, what we can, so these players can push on and actually contribute this season.
Absolutely. We will be back on Friday to do a review pod, and then obviously look towards Brighton more so than anything, probably. Hopefully get a reaction for the draw out of 4
on Friday. Yeah.
So we'll either obviously we're going to get Betis or Midtjylland, and we'll know more about that. So that'll be fun. But if you're here and you can drop us a like and a subscribe, it does go a long way. We've seen a real good increase on all social media, so that's been really good, and we're really thankful for that, because it does go a long way in making the pod run, basically. And as whilst we sort of enjoy the torment that Nottingham Forest give us every week, whether that's joyous or pain, we enjoy doing the pod. So your support does help that. So, but until next time, if there's anything else from you guys, Alex, Reece, anything you want to say?
No.
There's no Elliot fact of the day. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to upset him. I'm a little.
Can I say I say that I won Trent Nav quiz again?
You won Trent Nav quiz. What was your team name?
I'm not repeating that now, mate.
Fair enough.
Those who was in the Nav this afternoon would have heard it, but it's not being broadcasted.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to everyone that joined us. We'll see you on Friday, and keep your heads up.